Hello there, and welcome back to the channel. Mad Mike here, and today we are going to be doing a breakdown on the new trailer for Joker, starring Joaquin Phoenix. So, here's just a few things right off the bat. Now, I remember when this film was announced. It was kind of when they did the DC, that Warner Brothers was announcing a lot of DC related properties in the wake of Batman v Superman and Justice League. And this one struck me kind of weird. Like, I didn't have a problem with the Joker origin movie, but they'd already kind of chosen their Joker in Jared Leto. So I was kind of surprised that they were doing a Joker origin film and they were having it be Joaquin Phoenix. But it's kind of this looks like it's unrelated from the DCEU. This is a standalone, and I think that's what they said at the time, was that this one would be a standalone film as opposed to something related to the DCEU. Um, Now, I'm not against that. It actually kind of mirrors the comic books in a way where you have your main DC universe that kind of most of the comics take place in, and then you have your Elseworlds, which is essentially just these offshoot different realities that are exist within the frame of the DC universe, but they're not generally the ones that we follow. So it fits very well, I think, with that idea, and I think I think having a Joker film is a good idea because it gives you a different spin on a character that we've seen, I think, three times now. Between Jack on film anyway, between Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, and Jared Leto. Um, the trailer starts off kind of slow. We really don't. You kind of see Joaquin Phoenix's character, which they refer to as Arthur. Um, and that's the other thing is we kind of see the what the background of the Joker is, as opposed to in the comic books where his background is really never explained. Now they did have an explanation, a background piece in Alan Moore's The Killing Joke, but that was a bit of a different story in terms of, it's been retconned over time, and the Joker, essentially, the Joker has stated in the comic books that he prefers his past to be multiple choice. In other words, he never wants to confirm, who he was really, what his real name is, or anything like that. He's just the Joker. Um, in this, we get to see who the Joker was before he became that, which I think is interesting. And I think it gives more humanity to the character, especially if you're making him the main character of your movie. Just having him be a blind psychopath doesn't really lend that much to the film. Especially because it doesn't appear really that he has some kind of an opposition in this film. It appears that he's mainly just on his own and doing stuff, but. Joaquin Phoenix, I think, does really good with the role. They have a voiceover during the trailer of Joaquin Phoenix talking about a bunch of things, and there's a bunch of like interesting stuff. There's apparently a relationship with his mother, who appears to be he takes care of in some way. She appears to have some kind of condition where she can't do certain things. Now, I don't know if it's a mental condition or what. It seems like that because there's a scene where they're dancing, and I would assume that it would. Her condition isn't necessarily physical; it's mental. Alzheimer's or dementia or something like that, or schizophrenia, which would also explain his mental state as well. In the movie, because obviously the Joker is mentally unstable. He's insane. So if you make that hereditary, I think that's a good touch, and it does give a bit of explanation as to why he has these latent underlying issues. And then you move on. They show him. He goes to the Arkham Mental Institute to get frequent care and to check in and stuff like that. And then, again, that's a nice little nod to Batman with Arkham Asylum. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to expand on that at all, or if this is just going to literally just be a one-shot film where we get to see all this stuff. But, it would be interesting. I think it was a nice touch. I think it's good to include that in the trailer just to kind of remind people that, yeah, this is the Joker from Batman we're talking about. This is that character. So people don't disassociate. And beyond that, Joaquin Phoenix has done a very interesting transformation with his body. Now, in the past, he's been fairly muscular. He hasn't been terribly terribly thin in any movie that I can remember. But in this movie, he's very thin. He's lost a lot of weight, and it shows. It shows in a good way as well, because the Joker really has never been depicted as being a very muscular person. He's very thin and lanky, stringy essentially in most of his interpretations. And I think that Joaquin Phoenix nailed that. And they show him in a clown costume throughout. It looks like he does a lot of odd jobs. They show him he's a sign spinner on a street corner, and he gets like beaten up by a bunch of people. Pretty much the entire trailer is just people beating the shit out of Joaquin Phoenix, until really the end. But it kind of it reinforces a lot of things. And the idea that people hate him. The world's a crazy place and all that stuff, which is things that are said in the trailer, which I really liked. And you look, it does. The best part about this is it really doesn't give away too much of the plot. It kind of gives away some of the stuff in regards to his progression and transformation into the Joker, but it doesn't give away really a lot of major plot points. You have the mother in there. You have the fact that he's going to Arkham for medical treatment, and then you have the kind of the pressures that are put on him by society and outside forces. Aside from that, you really don't have any major plot points, which is good. And then kind of the money shot of the trailer, which is the very end, where you get to see Joaquin Phoenix after he's dyed his hair green finally, and he's in the whole Joker garb, and he's walking down this hallway kind of strutting his stuff, and it's really, really good. It looks really, really good. I'm very excited for this movie. I want to go see this in October. This looks amazing, because this is something that we haven't seen in terms of a superhero movie before. Because, well, I shouldn't even say it's a superhero movie because the main character is a supervillain, but a comic book film where this feels almost like you're watching a biopic of a serial killer. And that's the kind of vibe that you should get from it. The music, actually, in the trailer is very good too, where it's kind of this happy, kind of almost operatic music. I think they're calling on I can't remember the exact name of the play, but the play with the sad clown, the crying clown. But it's extremely, extremely good from the trailer. I think that this trailer did a lot to sell this movie, and I think it did a lot to sell us on Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. Even though personally I thought he would make a good Joker when they announced the casting, but just the physical transformation he's put himself through is amazing. So I'm going to link the trailer below for anybody that hasn't seen it, and if you if you don't if you kind of borderline, I'd advise you to watch the trailer because it won me over. I wasn't 100% sold on this movie. I'm sold on this movie right now, unless they do something catastrophic. But sometimes they can do that with trailers where they fudge things and they make certain things look different, or they edit things differently, or things change. But right now, this thing looks really, really good, and I'm very excited to see both the second trailer and to see any kind of promotional stuff that comes out about this. The movie is coming out in October of this year, and the title is just Joker. So if you want to go watch that trailer, go ahead. Like I said, it'll be linked below. Thank you for listening. Remember to leave a like on the video, hit the bell for notifications, subscribe, leave a comment with your thoughts, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?